Welcome to the Stage 3 analysis of the EWS Northstar, and we are here with Richie Rude, Yeti Factory Racing's Richie Rude. How you doing, man?
Doing good, you know.
Checking out my, giving me some advice.
See what you're going to do on the long pedally stage.
Yeah, what did you do here? Because this starts out with like a fire road, and I'm still pedaling, as you can see, but then I went into full tuck mode here pretty soon. What did you do here? Did you pedal through the whole thing?
This was kind of tough because this fire road wasn't very steep, so like you kind of had to keep pedaling. Like I got up to speed and just, I wanted to tuck, but I ended up just sitting in with like a harder gear and just.
What gearing were you running? Because you run Shimano drivetrains.
Yeah, so I had a 32 in the front just for a little bit more ground clearance. Then I think it's 10 through 45.
Yeah, that's smart. Us XC dudes never think of ground clearance for our chainring selection choice.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I was pretty glad I had it.
Oh, I'm sure, man. So this is, I was trying to pump through here and sneak in some pedal strokes because I knew we were coming into a really steep chute right here.
Yeah, that was definitely a good call, being able to pump, and I did the same thing actually.
Oh, sweet.
Kind of recover a bit.
Yeah, because this thing is going to spike my heart rate. And, it was tossing me everywhere. My foot blew out.
Yeah, definitely spiking the heart rate on that. But
so, tire choice on that, because that was an interesting thing there. What were you running? I feel like it makes a pretty big impact. What were you running front and rear on your tires?
Yeah, so all weekend I ran Ascai front and then Minion DHF rear. Sweet.
And so that's the Minion DHF rear. These are Maxxis tires. That's a lot of the time people think that is just a front tire. Why were you running it in the rear?
That's kind of like used to be like a go-to tire, front and rear. And so I kind of like always stuck with it. But cool. Yeah, I think it corners pretty well and has pretty good like general grip. So
it seems like it tracks pretty well. Like and in those sections, your back end's kind of like a rudder. Yeah, and it just kind of like stays put. I had the DHR too, and I think it was kind of catching, and that's purely why I lost the race. I always think
it's pretty predictable, and I kind of know how it drifts and such. But
that's cool. It's right what you're used to.
I think any tire is gonna kind of slide around in there.
Nothing's gonna be great, right?
But yeah, and then here we got our big pedal in before a bunch of the corners.
Yeah, I was pedaling through this whole thing. You too?
Yeah, I actually stood up a bit more than I kind of wanted to.
Standing up and pedaling?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to charge the section a bit, knowing like there wasn't anything too rough after. Yeah. I feel like I could recover a bit, like in this like corner section.
Clip that table. I clearly was not going fast enough. So then on this stage, it gets into like these super tight turns. Do you and they are demanding though, because they all tend to have kind of like a hole before them. Do you find yourself coming up? And I was low. Did you go high there coming in? Let's rewind.
Yeah, and that turn. I made sure to remember this corner as well, just so I could. I did not lose any speed where it cut off track. That was quite hard to.
So did you run? Looking at this turn, did you run high up here?
Yeah, I think I was up right.
Oh yeah. See,
I want to say, or I was middle, either one.
These little things probably lose me like a second or 2 seconds every time, right? I mean, it kind of adds up.
It's hard too, like when you miss that corner and you lose that momentum that you're carrying as well.
Yeah, like right here, I actually had to sneak in a couple pedal strokes right off of that. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have had to do that otherwise. I was trying to enter wide into these turns as well. Yeah. Were you doing that, or were there certain ones where you were entering kind of inside?
Yeah, I think most of these ones you could go a little wider and try and carry good speed or like avoid some of the holes.
Yeah, that was my main goal with the wide. But then right here, I was tight inside. Yeah, and I felt like I lost some speed.
There's one coming up I wanted to hit inside on. There was a good line, but I ended up kind of missing it.
And you ended up going wide? Right here.
Yeah, it was this one.
Right there.
I made it inside, then I slid down.
Yeah, and I saw that high line there in the race run, and I was like, man, that's a perfect line. It probably developed just from pre-riding.
But I think like if you hit the outside, it would have been.
Where'd you go off this drop?
I went very far off the I did not plan this well.
Okay.
And in pre-riding, I missed the line and went quite slow off it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know the speed at which you should hit it, and I sent it pretty deep.
So this is probably about like a 4-foot drop, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have quite decent speed.
So you're probably carried a whole lot further, because as you go further down, since it's downhill, it gets higher and higher, basically. So did you take the same line off of it as I did, or were you to the left or right?
I went left like you did.
Okay, yeah. And this is you can see it's a big hole that I land in, and that I wish we had like G-forces measuring that. It's a pretty hard hit. I can only imagine what you did if you went further.
Yeah, I got a pretty good photo of me full bottom out there.
I remember going through that one section right there, and I was braced for it, but my upper body still wanted to cave. Like my arms wanted to cave. So that just shows if you went deeper, that's seriously impressive. Okay, so at this point, I'm already thinking, and I don't know if this is good, but I'm already thinking of, I know that coming up it's going to get really rocky.
Yep.
And I'm going to need to be somewhat fresh. So I kind of started to think, like, try to be smoother instead of slamming into every one of these turns, because I was getting into this rhythm where I was just slamming them. Do you find yourself thinking ahead on these courses, or are you just like, whatever's in front of me, that's what I'm focused on?
No, yeah, like, I definitely have, like, a bit of a plan, I guess, like, riding some of the stuff. Like, you know, like, coming into these last couple corners, I knew, like, you know, there's a bigger rock garden coming up, and you're only, I don't know, halfway down the track, so you can't, like, quite pin it. You gotta, like, conserve a bit.
So you're kind of you're pacing yourself within like you're not just going all out top to bottom.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I threw a couple pedal strokes in here, but I wanted to make sure that I was good for this rock garden coming up. That's
impressive. So I was still like trying to pedal here because I'm panicked that I'm like losing time, right?
Yeah.
Now this rock garden, we're gonna slow-mo through this thing. So I'm gonna run through it first, and then we'll go back through. So this is the Sticks and Stones waterfall section. So we're gonna rewind back up to the top. So when you see a section like this, and we're gonna stop right at the rock rollover, there's like a smooth line that goes around to the outside that you can see. I mean, relatively smooth. It's chunky, and that's around to the right. And it looks like that's where a lot of folks are taking. And then to the left, it's actually really smooth, like big rock boulders that kind of cross. But is this the line that you took as well, the same line that I did?
Yeah, this is the line I went, I think, pretty much through the whole rock garden.
Cool.
We went the same way.
So on this one, so that rock pile right there, it kind of wants to throw you up. And I think I saw a video of this. You kind of like jumped into the next like rock, right?
Yeah, I definitely came into it a bit quicker than I did in practice. And it kicked me a little bit more than I wanted to.
How do you recover from those things like mid-rock garden? Are you like, because I find that I slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
But do you guys, is your first reaction to slam on the brakes, or do you just kind of try to stay strong, get into the right position, and ease off the brakes? Like,
yeah, I guess trying to like, set up for like, oh, like I'm getting kicked, like I better, maybe like touch the brakes and just maybe slow down a little bit, or just kind of like get ready to hit the next little rock and kind of, I guess, find that good braking point where you can kind of like recover.
That's like the difference, because I'm just like, stop the bus. Like, it's pretty rough. And then after this, we go down this section, and if you listen, it's really loud and it's rough.
Yeah.
Something I noticed that, and we've had Lee McCormick on the podcast before, and he's a really good MTB skills instructor. Lee likes bikes, and he, a lot of the time, talks about rowing and anti-rowing. Mm-hmm. And like, I noticed that you do an incredible job of like, and a lot of the top pros of pushing your bike down the backside of these like little rock waterfalls. Yeah. Why do you push down instead of just sending off?
Well, like,
we'll just play through from here.
Like if you scroll back a little bit before this last, go forward.
Yeah.
I guess like to here.
Yeah, right
like,
here.
Right here, I guess is a good point. Like I kind of want to pump this this rock right where his wheel is, and then so I can get light for the next section.
Oh, because there's like rocks afterward, and if you're heavy through that, it's just going to stall your momentum.
Yeah, and then I mean this rock garden's quite quick, so you don't really need to generate speed, but like on maybe some flatter ones, like I definitely want to like catch some backside of rocks, so I'm kind of generating speed and not just getting hung up.
It's crazy. Like we're just thinking make it through, and you guys are trying to find speed. That's pretty crazy. And you can see it kind of slowed down. Oh, took a bad line out of that. Right here, did you go wide around that boulder, or did you just go straight over the boulder that's inside to the right?
I'm not quite sure. I think I would have gone over the inside.
Yeah, because I had to slow down a decent amount to hit that line. Cool. Then more rocks and chunder dodging that. And then we come into an interesting section right here where there's like a tight pinch where it wants to take you. You have to swing wide and then set up for this right here. And it goes through and chunky drop into a berm. Ugh. And I'm set up really poorly for that turn.
Yeah, this section was quite loose. Just, I feel like everywhere you wanted to go there's always like a rock somewhere.
Yeah. Which line did you take through here? So we're back at like the big tree before it goes into the notch.
Yeah, I think I went right here.
Okay, so you followed that line through the trench.
Yeah.
Then did you end up wide like me, like way out to the side?
I was definitely wide on this corner, so
yeah.
I would assume I did.
Yeah. It's a tricky spot, man, because then I just felt like I was dead on speed.
It was almost kind of going like wherever it looked smooth and your bike kind of was taking you.
Yeah.
These corners were quite hard to know where to go, but
it kind of wasn't any good options.
Yeah.
Now here, I tried to tuck inside, and I feel like it was a straighter line. Then I'll rewind and going out wide.
I did the same thing.
Yes, sweet, awesome. But there's another one coming up right here. And I went wide, and I feel like I should have gone inside. I don't know if you went inside there.
Yeah, in practice, I think I went around the outside. But in racing, I checked up a little bit.
Smart.
And hugged the inside.
It was definitely a straighter line, and then I had to really slow down there. I almost came to a stop, basically, in that turn. Dropping down, another example, I should have pre-rode. I mean, I did pre-ride, but it changed a lot. Like that section, it was really loose. You have some rocks here. And I just thought stay straight through this stuff and kind of stay inside. Yeah,
that was kind of my goal. Because actually, I felt like it was quite hard to see through a lot of that.
It was.
So I kind of knew where I was going, but kind of like made it up on the fly, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. This is me trying to go really straight.
Yeah, the shadows were quite difficult to hear.
And then, I blew all the way down. And then carrying through. On this one now, it's like the trail starts to change because right here it basically turns into like a new section where you just kind of go straight down, and actually there's a good opportunity to see if you took a different line on this turn. I think I blew this turn again, but it's less rocky now, and so I'm kind of like, okay, recalibrate, reset yourself.
Yeah, totally.
But right here I followed the line. Did you tuck inside?
Yeah, I think I followed the route a little bit, and then I think I took a foot out and tried to hug a little more inside, just because
I got out here.
It looked like the rut made the turn quite big.
I got out here, it made the turn huge, and then also the rut started to blow out like instantly, and I lost a bunch of speed. Instantly. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm like, Richie might be reviewing this. Like take good lines, but took some bad lines.
Yeah, here was a good time to just like tuck and reset and get ready for some.
So were you pedaling through this section at all? I saw some people doing that.
No, I tucked and tried to just carry good speed.
No brakes though.
Tried to, yeah.
Yes, it's impressive. I actually tapped my front brake and the front end started to lose it right there. And it was kind of a tricky spot. So now we're getting into a section where it's pretty smooth. It's like a green trail, I think. And it's one that I ride a lot whenever I'm coming down from the mountain. But these berms, this is an interesting spot. I was curious about where the lines were going because, and I'm going to rewind back to the beginning of them, because I kind of saw you guys' lines in spots, I feel like. And you guys were kind of lower on the berms a lot of the time. And I tried to follow this line this time, but usually I ride high on the berms. Why do you guys ride like, because in this section I found that you guys were like lower. Why would you ride lower on it?
Sometimes when they're like in quicker succession like this, if you like run a bit lower, you can still get a bit of a pump, but it's almost like a little straighter.
So less track you're covering?
Yeah, and sometimes if you go like wide, you end up like almost turning more.
Yeah.
I mean, like when they're more like this, more S-y, you can't really do that, but if they're like not, I guess, as big corners, like you can kind of just almost weave. Yeah,
that makes sense. So at this point, you can hear me breathing like a dog.
Yeah.
I was fully pumped and arm pump. It's basically when, like, take a broom, drill 2 holes through it, put weights on the end of a rope, and then just try to roll that thing in your hands up and down for like 10 minutes, and you'll feel what arm pump is. Or just try to ride these stages.
Yeah.
Your hands go like basically numb. And it's so much pain. And I was coming through here and I was like, I was kind of worried like my hands were just going to blow off because they felt like so pumped up. It was like back in my moto days. How do you train for that? Like, were you experiencing arm pump or how do you get over it?
At this race, I don't think it was as bad. Like 2 weeks before we were racing Whistler.
Yeah.
And we had some big stages there and my arms were definitely hurting quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's quite hard to train for almost. It's almost just like you got to ride and kind of almost like deal with it.
Do you find that the more you ride and the more you get it in like training and everything else, that the less often you get it in a race?
Yeah, I think so. And I think a bit too, it's like if you focus on your breathing, I think it helps. I always find like in practice, my arms pump up. And then like when I'm in racing, like I think when I get in the zone and I'm breathing good, it's not as bad.
Huh. Impressive, man. It's something that a lot of us that don't ride enough, we definitely need to do. So that one, I did it in 9:26:35, and you did it in 8:09. So that is a full minute and a half, basically, that you got. So on that one, I spent 67% of the time coasting, so less time, and 16% of the time anaerobic. That makes sense since I'm doing more. There was more pedaling, I guess, toward the end in that one. But an interesting thing on that one too is it was 11%, even though it was like 3 miles long, so it was longer. It still had a decent pitch to it when you added it all in.
Yeah, it definitely had some steeper sections and whatnot, but yeah, definitely a pretty physical one.
That was hard. Yeah.
I almost caught myself out. I was 2/3 of the way down. I kind of forgot there was a whole nother like other section. I was like, all right, chill out for a minute.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Once again, Yeti Factory Racing's Richie Root. Appreciate this. And also, pay attention to the playlist that you're watching this in. Hopefully, if you're not, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. And you should go and see Stage 4, because that's what we're going to do next. If you like that video, you should subscribe to our channel. We have a ton of videos just like that one. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently down in the comments below. And if you want to see more race analysis videos like this, you can check out the playlists over here. If you want to get answers to your coaching questions, check out the playlists on the other side. And finally, if you want to become a faster cyclist, which of course you do, you should head over to TrainerRoad.com. That's how you get faster. That's what I'm going to do right now.